Kadosh Boker or Masechet Kiddushin Daf Bet Amud Aleph. Says the Gemara, we just asked yesterday, right? What exactly is the case of who has to pay for the food? You remember yesterday we made a distinction between kibud avaim and mora avaim. Kibud avaim means you have to respect them. How do you respect them? You give them to eat, you give them to drink, you serve them, right? And so on and so forth. What exactly is, and by the way, that's the concept of kibud. Even in modern Hebrew, if you say kibud kal, what does that mean? You come, you give light refreshments, meaning that you come, you're giving to eat, to drink. Those are things which are called kavod. You give kavod to someone. But if I'm not gonna sit in your seat, that's kashur that I have fear. That's something, it's not for me. Why? Only he sits in that seat. So that's something, of a fear. So he comes and he says like this. He says, Ibailahu. So now that we just came and we made a distinction between kavod and mora, and we said that the kavod was, that we already mentioned, which is ma'achil mashke, malbishum chaseh, machlisu motzi, but the mora was to do with not sitting in a seat, not standing in his place, not being sotenet to dvarav, not being machliya dvarav, right? All those types of things. So ibai lehu. So we're going to come and we're going to ask the question, Michel mi, from who do we give to eat? What does that mean? When we're going to come and give the father to eat, does the money have to come from the father or from the son? So, for example, you have the son. He's coming, he's going to give to eat to his father. But one second, who's paying the bill? Is it the son or the father? So, Rav Yehuda comes and he says, Michel Ben, the son has to pay for it, right? He has to come and give the money to the father, but he has to, pay for it. Rav Natan says, Michel Av, from the son. So the Chachamim went and they taught the halacha to Rabbi Yirmiyah, and some people say to the son of Rabbi Yirmiyah, Kemanda Amar Mishel Av, which means that they were paskening like Mishel Av. So even though we brought a machloket, who do you give the money to, whether it's going to be not giving the money to, meaning who's the one that's paying for it, whether it's the son or the father, we're paskening that the father has to pay for it. So Meitvein, we're going to ask the question, it says you have to come and you have to respect your father and your mother. And it says, what does that mean? You have to be mechabed et Hashem meonecha from your money. So from the fact that it's written kabed in both places, so therefore, 1 second, let's just make a kesh. That if right now it's written kabed et avicha, and there the kabed et avicha means the same thing, like kabed Hashem meonecha. So if kabed Hashem meonecha means you have to respect Hashem with your money, which means you have to fork out money to respect Hashem, so kabed et avicha v'timecha should be the same thing, that you have to fork out money to respect your parents. Now, if you're going to tell me now that it's going to come from the money of the father, my nafkamina, what's the nafkamina then? Well, what does that mean now? What, just kabed et avicha v'timecha just has to be with the body? It should be with the money. Answers the Gemara, lebitul melacha. You are, because you're doing bitul melacha. Meaning, you could have been working, and instead of working, now you're respecting your parents. You don't have to take out money for the respect of the parents, but the fact that you're not working, that in itself is you're losing money. So therefore, that's bitul melacha. So Tashma, we're going to try to bring a proof. Shnei achim shnei shutfin havu bno harav v'talmido podin ze laze ma'aser sheni. When you have two brothers, when you have two partners, when you have the father and the son, when you have the rabbi and the talmid, when you have, right? He comes and he says, Podin zelazeh ma'aser sheni. They're going to come, they're going to be podeh ma'aser sheni, which means without coming and adding on the extra fifth. Umachlin zelazeh ma'aser ani. And they're going to come and they're going to give to each other ma'aser ani, which means that somebody could come and give it, right, as ma'aser ani. That means basically, even though he's chaviv lav kigufo, he's allowed to give him the ma'aser ani also. If you're going to tell me right now that it comes from the son, so it comes out that he's paying back his father, right, with the chov of the anim. So therefore, right, we just said, if you remember, right, when you're going to come and you're going to redeem maaser sheni, you always have to add a fifth, right? But then we said that if it's going to be two partners, or if it's going to be a father and a son, or a rabbi, so then they could do it, right, maaser sheni, without adding on, right? Why? Because we're not going to say that since they love each other, so it's ki'ilu is podeh latzmo, therefore he has to add a fifth. It's somebody else that's doing it. So if it's somebody else that's doing it, you don't have to add a fifth. You remember we spoke about this in the Gemara to do with the person's wife. if a wife is going to come and he's going to redeem the Maaser Sheni, does she have to add the fifth or not? So then we ask, if it's with his money, then for sure, right? From a Yerusha, so and so forth. So basically, what are we trying to say? We're trying to say that if somebody else redeems your Maaser Sheni, they don't have to add a fifth. So here, a father and a son, two partners, two two brothers, or a rabbi and a talmid, you don't have to add a fifth. Why? It's considered somebody else coming and redeeming your maaser sheni. Now, when it says ma'achilin zelazeh maaser ani, means that you could actually come and give them maaser ani. So you could give, whether it's to your father, whether it's to your son, whether it's to your rabbi, whether it's to your student, whether it's to your brother, whether it's two brothers, or to your partner. In all these cases, you could come and you could give maaser ani. So now the Gemara is going to ask, if you're going to tell me now that the son is obligated to pay for the kibud avayim because we're doing Mishel Ben and not Mishel Av, which means that we're going by the son, right? That the son has to pay. Now, 1 second. Does it make sense now that the son has to pay and then he could give his father from Maaser Ani? That means he's basically paying off his debts with Maaser Ani. He's stealing from the Aniim to pay for his father. Does it make sense if you're going to say Mishel Ben? So answers the Gemara, what are we dealing with? Ladafa. What does it mean now, ladafa? It means now ladafa that if a person has to make a very big, let's say there's going to be leftovers of the seudah, so therefore he's allowed to give him maaser ani because the chiyuv of kibud av is only to give him midah benonit, but he's not chayav to give him a lot. So therefore, he says, since he's not chayav betorat kibud av, he's allowed to give the extra from maaser ani. Okay, everyone understood? Meaning the extra he's allowed to give from maaser ani, not the actual amount. So says the Gemara, so Hainu diktani Allah. That's what we learned. Amar Rabbi Yehuda, says Rabbi Yehuda, Tavo meira, Tavo meira, lemisha ma'achil et aviv maaser ani. There should come a curse unto a person that he's going to give his father maaser ani. V'ile adafa. Now, if you're going to tell me that it's only going to be the extra, so my nafkamina. What's the nafkamina? Which means if you're going to tell me right now that really be'emet, you're only obligated from kibud avayim to give your father Benoni. Benoni means you give him regular food. And now all of a sudden, you're going to give him extra. So that extra could come from Maaser Ani. Now, if you're going to tell me that that extra could come from Maaser Ani, so he says, so then what's enough kamina then? What's the difference between his father and other Aniim then? Why is there going to come now a kilala? There shouldn't be any difference. So says the Gemara, that's still a zilzul. Meaning the fact that you have to come and you have to give your father from Maaser Ani, that in itself is a zilzul. It's a bizayon. And therefore, since it's a bizayon to the father, right? So therefore, that's why you're not allowed to do that. Okay? And we're going to bring a proof to that from the Braita. Tashima. So we're going to bring a proof to the Braita that what? Until Hechal. Shalu et Rabbi Eliezer. They asked Rabbi Eliezer, and Hechal shel kibud avayim. Until where is kibud avayim? He told him, Kadesh et olah neki. He could take your father could come and take your pocket, your pocketbook or your purse or your wallet, and he could throw it in front of your face to the sea. You're not going to embarrass him. Now, you're going to tell me now, Mishel Av, which means that it's going from the father. So then what's enough kamina? At the end of the day, right? If right now the arnak he's going to be basically obligated to come and to pay it back, so for why would you stop him? Just charge him afterwards. What's the big deal, right? So why is he going to come and he's going to?
You're allowed to charge it.
No, because basically what he's trying to say is if the chiyuv of the ben is to let it because it's going mishel av, so therefore it comes out that he's not chayav b'kibud av b'meot elu, so he should be allowed to come and to stop him and to embarrass him. So therefore, if so, what's the difference between the son and ma'chpatlo if now the father is going to do it? At the end of the day, if it's his. So then why is he going to come and he's going to embarrass his father? But rather, obviously, the arnak does not belong to the father. The arnak belongs to the ben. And still you see that he has to let his father come and throw it into the sea. So it comes out that mitzvah kibud av is from the ben. But at the end of the day, if it belongs to, so what does he care? Let him throw it in there. It's so. Obvious, right? So therefore what? Obviously, it's talking about that it belongs to the ben. And the ben is supposed to keep quiet. So that's a proof that what? That's Mishal Ben. So says the Gemara, B'ra'ui liyorsho. Says no. But the son is going to inherit him. And the fact that the son is fitting to inherit him, so therefore he's like losing all his Yerusha. So therefore, even if you're going to tell me now that it does belong to the father, it doesn't matter what, he's still keeping quiet because basically in front of his face, he sees that his father's taking all the inheritance that's supposed to go to him and throwing it down the drain. And he has to respect his father. The Chihad the Ravuna, just like Rav Huna, the Ravuna, Karash Shirai Be'amper Rabba Bereh. Ravuna came and he tore clothing, Bigdei Meshi, in front of his son Rabba. The Amar, he says, Ezu lechsi ratach leotach. I want to see if he's going to get angry or not. I want to see if he's going to get angry or not. Right? What does that mean? Do you see from here that he was trying to test him? He wanted to get his son angry. He wants to see, is he going to get angry or not going to get angry? So says the Gemara, maybe Bemet he get angry, and then he's going to be over. Answers the Gemara, he already came and he was mochello. So ask the Gemara, v'hakavar mishum bal tashchit. He was over bal tashchit. You're not allowed to come and start destroying things, right? It doesn't matter whether it's food, whether it's anything. We just learned this in Smichat Chaver, Kufayin Aleph. So you have
to the sea.
Also. So answers the Gemara, de'ava delay bepumbiyaneh. What does that mean? He did it in a place where you could actually fix it. So says the Gemara, fine, but if you could actually sew it back together, meaning that he tore it like on the seams, so it's a 2-second thing, there's a fix, and that's it. So he says, maybe because that he didn't get angry. Meaning he saw how you tore it, and he knows that it's a 2-second fix. Maybe that's why. Says the Gemara, Ravuna did it b'shat kaso shel Rabba, which means that Rabbi was already upset for something else. And if he wasn't careful in Kavod Aviv, he would have gotten upset, even on that. So therefore, that's why it was going to come, and it was going to be a test. So taught Rabbi Yecheskel to Rabbi, his son, from Mishnah and Sanhedrin. Hanisrafim baniskalim. Meaning, what happens right now? You have somebody that's chayav mitan bedin, that he was supposed to be chayav mitan bedin, serefa. And he got mixed up with somebody that was supposed to be sekila. So now we don't know who was the one that was chayav in sekila and who was the one chayav in serefa. Rabbi Shimon says, you don't do b'skila, you kill all of them in skila. Shasrefa chamura, but serefa is worse. Elmaleh of Yehuda Berei, he says of Yehuda, right? Berei, right? He comes and he says like this. Okay, this is the shita of Rabbi Shimon, obviously. Obviously, we know that Chachamim hold the opposite. Sekila is more chamur, and that's what we do, actually. Exactly. So, Elmaleh of Yehuda Berei. So, says of Yehuda, right, to his son, Rabbi Yecheskel, the brother of Rami to his father. Abba, not titinayacha. We did actually learn that. My idea, what are we dealing with now? Right? Besrefa chamura. Typically, the ruba niskalim. The majority of people, they get sekila, not srefa. Right? And therefore, why are you going after the mute? Elahachi tniya, but rather you have to teach aniskalim and nisrafim. The ones that when the niskalim got mixed up with the nisrafim, and you give all of them sekila. Right? So he comes and he says, that means even though the nisrafim were the majority, we don't go after the majority, but rather we go after sekila. Okay? So Elmaleh, he comes and he says, Yahachi, if so, Ema Seifa. Let's see the Seifa. Chachamim say, Yidonu b'srefa, she'sekila chamura. So the rabbis argue, they say, no. You should do, right? Sekila is more chamur. So my idea, the sekila chamura, why do we say that sekila is more chamur? Typically, at the end of the day, the majority have nisrafim. So he comes and he says, Elmaleh, hatam rabbanan lekamar Rabbi Shimon, the kamarta, srefa chamura lo, sekila chamura. He says like this. He comes and he says, really, be'emet, the seif of the Mishnah, the Chachamim are coming and they say the reason why is sekila is chamura. That's not the ikar tam. They were trying to take out the tam of Rabbi Shimon that he said that all of them are going to be niskalim because serefa is more chamura. So he's saying it's not true. Sekila really be'emet is chamura. And since sekila is chamura, so therefore we are going to come and be machmir on them. So Elmaleh Shmuel Rabbi Yehuda says Shmuel to Rabbi Yehuda, Shinna, sharp one. Lo temaleh lavichachi. You're not allowed to tell your father that. The time we learned in the bright Resha over aviv over on divrei Torah. Imagine your father's being over on divrei Torah. Al yomallo, don't tell him Abba avart al divrei Torah. Don't tell him, Father, you weren't against the Torah. Ela omerlo, but rather you have to tell him Abba kach katuv b'Torah. This is what is written in the Torah. Meaning, right, when you're going to come, you're going to say that kilu that you made a mistake or you will vet. That's a bizayon. If you just say, listen, it's written in the Torah like this. It's okay, it's within the Torah. You're saying a fact. You're not coming and telling him that he's wrong or that that's the way it's supposed to be done. So says the Gemara, Torah. He says this is what's written in the Torah. So he's being mitzayer oto. He's going to be vayesh oto. How can he come and tell him that? But rather he has to tell him, Abba, Nikra Katuv Torah Kach. This is the way that it's written in the Torah, like Kach Lekach, which means that he's not mentioning the action of the mistake at all. The father will understand the mistake on his own, but he's not mentioning the mistake. You understand? Right? Elazar B'Matya comes and he says, Abba Omer Ishkini Mayim, u'mitzvah la'asot. What happens right now? Huh? No, הוא לא מבייש אותו.
למה? ככה בתורה מצייר הוא את אביו מביישו, ואין מותר לו לומר כן.
אני כבר התקדמתי.
כן, זה מה לכן לא שמעתי. מה אמרת? אז מה השגת שם?
אומר לו, אבא, מקרא כתוב בתורה כך. It's written in the Torah like this, but you're not mentioning the sin. And since you're not mentioning the sin, so therefore he understands it from so.
אתה עובר על ככה וככה.
כן, כן.
ככה וככה בטוח שאתה תעשה מה שאתה רוצה.
לא בדיוק תעשה מה שאתה רוצה, אבל הוא אומר, אבא, מקרא כתוב בתורה. By the way, there's a פסוק.
המבין
יבין. אלעזר במתיה אומר, אבא אומר, השקני מים. If the father comes and he says, give me to drink water. ומצווה לעשות, and now the person has a mitzvah in front of him to do. מניח אני כבוד אבא ועושה את המצווה. He says, you know what? I'm going to leave my father and I'm going to do the mitzvah. Why? Shani v'abba chavim mitzvah, because me and my father are both obligated to the mitzvah. So if I have a mitzvah overet, basically, whether it's going to be kvurat hamet, leviat hamet, so I should go. Isi ben Yehuda, right? Im efshar la-mitzvah le'asot al-yedei acherim, te'aseh al-yedei acherim. V'yelechu b'chvod aviv. He says, if right now he could come and he could be done through acherim, it should be done through acherim. V'yelechu b'chvod aviv. But he should do it, meaning that try to do somebody else to do it. Right? Why are you try to get somebody else to do the mitzvah, and the mitzvah should be done. And then, if you can't do the mitzvah, meaning nobody else can do the mitzvah, fine. But if not, let somebody else do the mitzvah, and you do to your father. Amar Rav Matna, says Rav Matna, halacha ki isi ben Yehuda. The halacha is like isi ben Yehuda. Meaning that there's going to be a difference between if it could be done through acherim or not.
If.
Right?
If, yeah. It's a condition.
Obviously.
No, it's if not.
That's what he said. אם אפשר למצווה לעשות על ידי האחרים, תעשה על ידי האחרים, וילכו בכבוד אביו, ואם לא, לא. אז הוא עושה. אמר רבי יצחק בר שילה, אמר רב מתן אמר חסה. says רבי יצחק בר שילה, נעים רב מתן, נעים חסה, האב שמחל על כבודו, כבודו מחול. The father that comes that he's going to be מוחל על כבודו, כבודו מחול. So he says, הרב שמחל על כבודו, אין כבודו מחול. Meaning, it comes out, the father could be מוחל. A rabbi cannot be mochel. Yeah? So he comes and he says, Rav Yosef argues, and he says, no, even the rabbi that's going to be mochel kvodo, kvodo machur shlemar, v'Hashem olech lifnehem yomam, which means even HaKadosh Baruch Hu was mochel al kvodo, and he went in front of Bnei Yisrael, b'amud anan, right, b'amud esh, b'midbar. So therefore, kilu, if HaKadosh Baruch Hu b'chvodo v'atzmo could be mochel, so kavachomer, the rabbi could also be mochel.
So why can a king not be mochel?
Oh, one second, that's something different. So Amar Rava comes and he says, Achi Ashta, can you compare both cases? Hatam HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Alma dilehu, v'Torah dilehu. So machile likare. He says over there, the entire world belongs to Hashem, and the Torah is His, and therefore He could come. He could be mochel al kavodo, right? Lamebet uvet. Hacha, but over here with the rabbi, Torah dilehu, is it His? It's not His. The Torah is not His that He could come. He could be mochel. It doesn't belong to Him. It belongs to Hashem. So Hadar Rava, you're right. He says in Torah dilehu, it does belong to Him. What does that mean? When it comes at the beginning and when a person wants to learn, it's true, it's Torah Hashem. Because it says, Kim Torah Hashem chefzo, but then it says, Uv Torato yege. Meaning before you learn it, it's Torah Hashem. After you learn Torah, it's Torato. It belongs to you. Very important. Yes. So he says, Any is it so? Rava, mashke be'ilula dibrei. Says, 1 second, there was a story with Rava that he was mashke all the orchim in the wedding of his son. So you had the Rabbi, that was a very big rabbi, that he's coming, he's giving to drink, all the Vedal Casa. So he was mozik the course of Papa and Yeshua, Vekamuni Kamen, they got up because of him. And then again, Rav Mani, Rav Pinchas, and then they didn't get out. Vikpid, he was makpid. Ve'amar, Hanu Rabbanan, Ve'hanu, right? Rabbanan, La Rabbanan. Says what? These are Chachamim, and these are not Chachamim. He says, you guys didn't stand up because of the Chachamim. Right, you guys are, like chashuvim b'nei atzmechem, and your friends did get up. That means what? They're not chachamim. Like, what's going on over here? So you see from here that even chachamim gedolim, right? They would actually come and they would get up and so. But still, Rava was mochel al kvodam, and he was giving them to drink. So you see from here the rabbi could be mochel al kvodo. The two, and furthermore, Rav Papa mashke beilula de Rabba morbre. Rav Papa was giving to drink by the wedding of Abba Morbere. He was pouring a cup to Rabbi Yitzchak ben Yehuda. It was makpid. Right? So you see from here, right? So answers the Gemara, no, we still have to do hidur. What does it mean hidur? Even though, right, the Talmidim had to do for the rabbi a hidur, which means hidur means that they have to pick up their body, right? They don't have to completely stand up. There's a difference between completely standing up or, getting up. That's called a hidur. So therefore, that's going to be a difference. Okay. Now here he comes and he says, Amar Ravashi comes and he says, even according to the mandamar, harav shemachal kvodo kvodo machul, nasi shemachal kvodo en kvodo machul. So a rabbi, even according again, there was a machloke, can a rabbi be mochel kvodo or not? There's a machloke, but even according to the mandamar that the rabbi could, but a nasi cannot. So says the Gemara, we're going to ask the following question. So there was a story of that they were right now the wedding of the son of Rabbi Gamliel. And Rabbi Gamliel was given it to drink. So the Tana goes to Rabbi Eliezer, he didn't take it. They gave it to Rabbi Yoshua, and Kiblo. Amalo Rabbi Eliezer, Maza Yoshua. What? Yoshua, what is this? He's standing and he's serving us. Amale, he says, Matzinu Gadol Mimenu Sheshimesh. We found someone even greater than it was Mishamesh. Who was it? Avraham. Avraham Avinu was a Gadol Adoraya. וכתוב בו, והוא עומד עליהם. ושמא תאמרו מלאכי השרת נימו לו. You're going to tell me they were מלאכי השרת. So since they were מלאכי השרת, that's why he was doing it. They only look like ערבים. ואנו לא יהיה להם גמליאל ורבי ובן עלינו משקל. So what? Are we any worse? Meaning, are we worse than the ערבים that he's going to come and he's going to give it to drink? אמר להם רבי בצדוק, מתי אתם מניחים כבודו של מקום ואתם עוסקים עם כבודו בבריות? So when are you going to be כבודו? You're leaving HaKadosh Baruch Hu, you're being osek b'kvod habriot. HaKadosh Baruch Hu, right, Moshiv Lechot, Maleh Nesiim, right, Ve'umonim Matar, U'matzliach Adama, V'onek Shulchan L'pnei kol echad ve'echad. Ve'anu L'Elenu Gamliel, V'Rabbi Omed U'mashke Aleinu. This is what about HaKadosh Baruch Hu. HaKadosh Baruch Hu b'chvodo b'atzmo is also doing the exact same thing. So what's the problem? Eleit man ha'achim, but this is what it means to say. Amar Ravashi. Afilu l'mandamar, even according to the mandamar, Nasi shemachal al kvodo machul, melech shemachal al kvodo en kvodo machul shneimar, som tasim alecha melech, shetehe emato alecha. You have to have ema on him. What does that mean? There's a special mitzvah that you have to have ema. If he's going to come and he's going to start serving you, you lose the fear of him. And that's why there's a mitzvah that a person has to make sure that... Yeah. So we're talking about that the king, it's obligated to come and you're obligated to have fear from him. That's why he says that according to everybody, as we're saying, a melech cannot come and cannot be mochel al kvodo. So if we're just going to do a very, very quick summary, it comes out that to do with the father, right? According to everybody, a father could be mochel al kvodo. A rabbi was machloket. Then even according to the mandamar that a rabbi could, a nasi can't. And then even if you're going to tell me that a nasi could, because we got a proof from Rabbi Gamliel that he was a nasi and he did do it, but then a melech can't. Okay, so you had like all the different machlokot, other than obviously the first one that was mechule alma, and the last one was mechule alma. Meaning, the melech is mechule alma, lo mochel al kavodo. The nasi is the machloket, right? But we brought a proof from Rabbi Gamliel that you could. And the other said no. Then we said the other machloket was by a rabbi. Can a rabbi yes or a rabbi no? And then the other one, which is not a machloket, is a father. According to everybody, a father could be mochel al kavodo, and according to everybody, a melech cannot. Okay? We learned in the Braita. It says you have to stand up for an elderly person. I would think that even a zaken rasha, you have to stand up. So it says, Samul Omar comes to teach you that what? Zaken. Ve'en zaken el hachacham. A zaken has to be a chacham. Shneimar, esfal ish 70 ish miziknei Yisrael. Right? And therefore, since the Ziknei Yisrael, we're talking about like mamash, like chachamim, so it's not just stam rasha. It has to be, or a ma'aretz. It has to be, no. So, Rabbi Yosei Gililei Omer, not only that, we actually learn it from the pasuk itself. Why? What is zaken? Zaken ze mi shekana chokhmah. Is it not recall? Zaken ze shekana chokhmah. Ze kana chokhmah. Shneimar Hashem kanani deshim talko, which means even from the same word of zaken, you already know what a zaken is. Means that they already have a certain chokhmah. So yachol yamod mipenav mimachok rachok. Okay, fine. So you have to get up for a zaken. Do you have to do it even from makom rachok? Tamulomar takum v'adarta. No amar takim ala b'makom sheyesh hidur. Meaning that you only have to do it when it's going to be close enough, which is going to be 400. So when it's going to be 400, that's when you have the obligation of actually coming and standing up for him. Yachol yadrenu b'mamon. I would have thought to say they have to be mechabed oto b'mamon with money. Tamulomar comes to teach you takum v'hadarta. What does that mean? When you stand up, you're not losing any money. So to the hidur, it's talking about also the she'embo you're not losing any money. So it has nothing to do with mula. Right? Nothing to do with money. Okay, fine. So I would have thought that you have to get up in the Bet HaKisei Bet HaMilchatz. Meaning, right, we're not talking about the Bet HaKisei or Bet HaMilchatz. There's no kima because of kavod. Meaning you're in the washroom, you don't have to start standing up because of it. We're talking about that, in a place of kavod. That's where you have to actually come and you give him kavod and you stand up for him. Maybe you could close your eyes and pretend you didn't see him. So says the Gemara, takum v'yareta me'elohecha. What does that mean? It's given to the lev, it's given to the heart. What does it mean? HaKadosh Baruch Hu looks into your hearts to see Bemet who exactly is seeing the zaken and he's going to get up, or he's going to ki'ilu, turn away and I didn't see anything. Rabbi Shimon ben Elazar says, Minayin the zaken shelo yatriach. But okay, fine. How do we know though that the zaken should not yatriach anybody? Meaning that you don't go, you come in, what are you doing now? Hamulumar comes to teach you, zaken v'yareta. What does it mean, zaken v'yareta? Right? It means that the zaken and therefore v'yareta, which means the fact that there's a smichut, right, between these two words. So it's saying that it's the yirav mipnei Hashem, and that he shouldn't come and start being matriach acherim. My Shiva, Shalom, of Ginsburg, I remember that it happened a few times that we were all waiting. Right, that whether it's he was going to give a shiura, and all of a sudden he was at the podium, and we didn't realize how he got there. The reason why is he didn't come from the entrance and walk all through. There was like a side entrance. So many times he would like use the side entrance and like bypass everybody. They're like, people wouldn't even realize, but if they're talking or whatever, it wasn't like everyone's sitting down and then they're waiting, and all of a sudden somebody comes in and you see them. They're all waiting for their shiva, and all of a sudden, boom, and they're like, hey, where did he come? He did it purposely. He did none of everyone has to start standing up. So boom, he used to get it. So he says, Isi ben Yehuda Omer, Isi ben Yehuda comes and he says, Mipnei seva takum, afilu kol seva b'mashma. He says, even any seva is mashma. Even if it's going to be like a zaken ashmai, like a zaken and a shah, also you should get up in front of him and not like the Tanakama. Rabbi Yossi Galilei knew Tanakama. So he says, one second, Rabbi Yossi Galilei is like the shita of Tanakama. That according to both of them, zaken means chacham, but rather Tanakama was doresh from a gzera shava. Yosef Galilei says it's a rotikon, it's an acronym from the actual word in itself. So what's the difference? So the Gemara, the difference in them is yanik v'chakim. What happens if you have a person that he's very young, but he's not zaken, but he's very, very chacham. So you have a young guy, he's a very big chacham, but he's young. So Tanakama holds yanik v'chakim lo. You're not obligated to set up for him. Why? Because zaken is zaken. But Rabbi Yosef Galilei says, no, afilu yanik v'chakim. When it says zaken, it doesn't mean literally it's a zaken. Zaken b'Torah. So he is zaken b'Torah, and then you have to do it. So what is the Rabbi Yosef Galilei? If it's going to be like the Tanakama, so the pasuk should have said, "Mipnei seva zaken takum v'adarta." So why did the Torah come and split? Mipnei seva takum v'adarta b'nei zaken. Why did he split it? It's not the same people. You have seva and then you have zaken. So therefore you have to do it even for yanik v'chakim. Why? It's two separate people. You have a zaken and you have the seva, right? So he says with Tanakama, but according to Shita Tanakama, since you wanted to be Mishul Deval Mismach Zaken V'Yareta, since you wanted to say Mivnei Seva Takum V'Ata B'nei Zaken V'Yareta Me'Elohecha, so that's basically it's the Davar Masul Lev. So since you wanted to make that smichut, that's why we had to split it up and put Zaken later on. But really, Be'emet, according to the Tanakama, it's going to be the exact same thing. Tanakama, I tell you what's the reason. If you're going to tell me it's like Rabbi Yosef Galilei, that zaken is even a chacham tza'ir, and seva is a zaken mashanim. In kedon nichtom rachmana, so the pasuk should have said, "Mipnei seva takum v'adarta penei zaken." Right? That means it should have said it in lashon kima and hidur by both. But the fact that it didn't do that, it didn't write it like that. So it means that it's actually going to be the exact same person. The zaken and the seva is the same person, and therefore that's why he says that it's not going to be for somebody young; it's only going to be for somebody older. Mitzvah Hashem, we continue tomorrow.